Hello, and in this video tutorial on Solidworks we'll be going over assemblies. Now there's two sort of ways you can go about doing assemblies. I'll start with the more generic and the correct way you should be trying to go about it, and then I'll show you a few other ways. So to start, I've got this disgusting looking part here. I don't know what it's supposed to be. I'm just going to go up to File, New Assembly, and then I'm in the assembly thing. Now, since I've already got this other part open here, it automatically comes up here. So if you're working on, let's say, an assembly which has 10 parts in it, when you're starting off, it's nice to just have those 10 parts already open, so you can looking at them or whatever, and then they'll already be in here, right? So they're already quick to access and whatnot. So I'm just going to select that, and if I just click over here on the OK without putting it down, it'll actually snap itself to the same planes as the origin, which is nice. So if I wanted to bring two of these in, there's two ways to do that. So I can go Assembly, Insert Component. So this is where I can add the same or a different part, and I can click and drag this. So same again, I can click here and it will go on top of itself, and then I won't be able to see it. I'm going to just Control Z that. Insert part, or I can come over here and just plunk it down there. Another quick tool to make, let's say you're doing several of these, let's say we need 4. If I just click on this, right, I'm going to hold in Control now. I'm going to click on it with the left click mouse click, and I'm actually going to drag it, and it will create a new one, which is cool. Just recording this in post, I did miss a simple tip in the assembly. So obviously if we've got an extra part here, if I wanted to rotate this to try and see something would fit, I can do that by, if I use the right mouse click to click on it and drag it, it actually rotates it like that. You can also move with triad as well as another one. So this is the more traditional, up, down, rotate way to do things. But that's something that can be used to move things around the assembly. Now these things aren't what's called mated in SolidWorks, so that's the confinement for constraining assembly parts. So if I get out of there, so we got to our mate, a little paperclip icon, and this is where the magic happens. So if I want to go this surface with this surface, so I've selected those two things, so I can either press enter or I can use the OK button up here. So now it's in those planes, and then I might say, okay, now I want to go this surface and this surface. Okay, or enter I just used, and then same with that. Voila. So there's that. Now let's say if I want to mirror, so I'm going to get rid of this third one here because no one likes a third wheel. Am I right? Terrible joke. So maybe I want to actually use, so I'm going to actually show this plane here. And I'm going to click up this little icon up here. Show planes. So now I can see that plane. Let's say I want to mirror this. So I want this part here, right? So let's say there's two here, but then there's this one on this side. Actually, this little tang here is just mirrored. So to mirror a part, I have to go up to Insert, Mirror Components, Mirror Plane. So this part here, Components to Mirror. I select that one. Now if I go to Next, I've got a few previews. So by default, when you're mirroring a part in SolidWorks, it tends to not mirror. It actually just moves the body across whatever distance it is from that plane. So as you can see at the moment, it's got this tang here on the same side here, right? Which isn't really what I'm after. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. But if I go over to this second, so in this arrow section here, if I go to the next column, and then there's this create opposite hand version, right? So if I click that, that gives you what an actual mirror is, okay? So then I'm just going to go, okay, yes. And there's that. There is also the move body, move component tool. Okay, maybe I won't get into that one. Alright, what's next? Now, if you're in here, editing your parts, you can do in here in the assembly view. So if I can click on here, so I'm just left clicking, and then it comes up with a bunch of options. Let's say if I want to change the transparency, so I can actually see through some stuff. Um, so maybe not do that, or I can hide that part. There's also suppress as well. So instead of hiding it, it's actually it's actually not in the model anymore. But if I wanted it to be there with its previous constraints and whatnot, so at the moment these aren't constrained to anything now, right? Because this was constrained to this part, which has now been removed. So it by default suppresses that mate as well. So if you wanted to edit the mates too, by the way, at the bottom of the assembly, there will be like a column where it's just all the mates in the assembly. Nothing else, just the mates. And there's also that same sort of thing, but in each part. So if I go unsuppress and show. So if I click on this part here, mates in assembly, that's where all the mates are for that part alone. But if it's like, oh, I just did a mate in whatever part, instead of, sometimes it gets a bit crazy with your model tree, and you want to be just like, oh, what was the last mate I just did? Click on mates, it'll be the last one. It's kind of a bad example because there's only 3 mates here and there's only 3 mates up there, but that's where they'll all be as well. Mates. Oh, so editing these parts, so I can edit it in here as I was mentioning. So I can go click on here, edit part. The assembly has to be named basically to do that. Yes. And then if I click on the model tree, I can go in here and I can either edit stuff that's already done. So for instance, if I want to edit, oh, I'm editing the mirror. Let's not edit the mirror. That's a bad idea. Let's edit this part. So if I go to, oh, in the wrong tree. So if I want to change this boss extrude to something else, edit sketch. I've not got anything to find there, but let's say I wanted that to be 100 now. That is now 100. I'll now go back here. So now I'm still editing this. If I want to go back to editing the full model, I just go back again. And that's now 100 mil. And it automatically updated there because I modeled it in here. So if I check that, that's 100. Now if I also want to edit this back in the part stage, so if I go, oh, I want to edit this, but I don't want to edit it with like 1,000 things around it, I can click on it and I can click open part. I've already had it open, why it opened so quickly. And then from here, I can, change, maybe I want to add a little top hat to it or something. So I go sketch, circle, little top hat, lovely. Features, extrude, 50, sounds wonderful. And now that's done. So I'm just going to press save, close, and then that's there. Now, if I wanted to open it, depending on how you're changing, so you can change certain things without going into that thing, for instance. So if I go, I haven't defined a value for this, which is bad. So if I edit this sketch, I give it a radius. So sometimes when you're changing things, whether it be, so if I click on this boss extrude here, right? So I'm not editing the sketch, but if I've clicked on the boss extrude, I click on this, and I go 250, Oh, that's 25. Anyway, good example. The part hasn't changed. So to update that, there's this little red light, green light up here, which or the rebuild button, or Control B. So you press that button and that'll update that. And that'll also update, or it should update, don't open another instance of Solidworks, should update this. And then if this isn't updated, same thing again. Press the rebuild button and that'll get things sorted. Now if I wanted to create a part in the assembly, it can be done. Sometimes it doesn't work out as nicely as others. So new part, I'm going to place it on this surface here and it'll automatically put me into a sketch. Now if I don't do anything with this, if I just go, oh, okay, close it again, I can change where that sketch plane is, and this thing will probably not be defined either, so it'll just be floating still. So if I go back into here, so it's just basically done a constraint on the top plane is now on that, but the other planes, oh, they're also about this by the looks of things. And then yeah, I can do a sketch. Oops, I'm not in. So be aware. So that was a. I'll do that again, just so you know. Sketch. So I'm actually sketching in the assembly level. So it's you only really want to do it for a handful of things. So generally you want to be in the actual part rather than the assembly level. So I'm going to go, okay, I don't want to do that. Thanks for the warning. Click on here. Edit part. And so it's sort of made everything else transparent. And then I'm going to go, where was I on here? Sketch. Maybe there's a thing here. And let's say I want this to be offset from here. So there's two useful tools. So there's convert entities, which says, oh, there's a line there in the model. I want to take that line and put it on this part. So if I go convert entities, okay. That line is now there, and then there's obviously offset. If I wanted to offset from there, you can also offset sometimes of these lines as well. So if I wanted to offset that, then let me go all the way around. Yeah, same sort of thing. To pick up some of the parts that are in the assembly, and then I'm just going to go features, extrude. Yep, sounds good. And now I've got like a little donut over my ring here, which is great. Now I mentioned there was another way to create assemblies, and that's actually in a part. So if I go new part, and let's say I've got some sort of thing going on here, extrude, got this thing, I can actually import this part into the other part. Now it's not common, but you can do it. Insert part, and then it's saying, okay, which part you want to do that? I want to do this one. Something's bugging out there. Hang on, let me just try that again. There we go. Now I'm going to put that down. And now there's mate settings here. And you kind of only do it once with the mate settings. So, mate. Okay. Oh, and that's it. So I've accidentally left the mate settings, and now it's just locked in space. So I think I can... when you're importing it, you want to make sure you get your mate settings already where you want them. But so you can do that there. And there's also an option to export parts too from a... so if you have an assembly, so let's say you wanted something... let's go back to that same little tower thing here, right? You've built this as a part. So these are all extrusions. I've actually made these when I've built it. So I go back into the edit extrusion. They're actually not, that's the wrong one. These aren't actually connected, you see. So if I click on this, edit part, I've actually unticked merge result. So if I tick that again, you'll see what I mean. So this is now, okay, this is now one part, right? These two are connected, where these two aren't. So same again, if I go into edit here, these aren't merged. So if I right click on this, you'll notice the option's not here. But if I go over to weldments, I'll get into weldments in another video, and I just click on structural member and then I click escape. Now the weldments option's now there. But what I can do is I can right click on this part and I can insert it into a new part. So if you wanted to do the whole assembly as a part and then splice things off, you can do that. So if I go insert into new part and see how I've joined this is now one part. So it's saying, okay, well these extrusions are together, I'll export that as one part. Cool, lovely, maybe I don't want that. Where up here I have not joined it. I've not merged result for the extrusion. So these are all separate parts. Now let's say if I needed to split this up for, let's say, a 3D print or whatever. So I can't, let's say my 3D printer can only print up to here and then I need to do the rest. Well, what I can do is I can go features, geometry, plane off here. Let's say my bed's only 200 high, but I'm going to flip that up so I can only print up to there and then I need to start again. So I've done that and then I'll go split. So click on split. So I've just searched this in the search bar because I actually don't know where this tool lives. So I clicked on split. It says what plane. It's already selected plane 3 for me, which is nice. So that's up in here. It says resulting bodies. So I just click down here and it goes, oh, yep. I want this to split here. Click OK. So now these two are separate parts. So this and this and this. So if I go to, what was I doing before? New part. Insert into new part. It's now just selecting that base. And I go, okay, cool. Okay. Yes. This is now a new part, which I can save as short. And this is its own separate part. So this is really good if you're trying to pull things apart for fabrication or something like that, or to get things sent out the door, if you need to. So that's another way you can sort of make a assembly as such, because like these, let's say for instance this, they might not all be the same part, right? Well, they won't be, because I've not ever seen anything get pumped out the door that looks like a square connected to a circle that doesn't require some sort of fabrication, right? These two are going to be two separate parts. So you can, as I said before, with the traditional way of modeling it through the assembly, you can do that, do it like the normal regular way. But if you need to, there is this second option here, and you can pull things apart to send things out or whatnot. I think that's going to be all for this video. So I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.